Okay, I'm going live.
It's impossible.
It's impossible because LinkedIn is LinkedIn. So I will.
Do you remember that quote from The Simpsons?
No.
I have felt English. That's impossible. Maybe I should hide this. So people don't think I'm taking steroids or something.
Okay, we are live right now on YouTube. I hope everything works well. Yeah, everything should work well. Let's adjust this a little bit. Hello, Mark. Hello to the show.
Hello, Johan. How's your Friday?
My Friday is amazing because we are streaming and we are just
Yeah.
two of us, and these two weird guys are not bothering me. So we are just like these two kiwis. You know, you have one kiwi and the second kiwi. And think about it all the time.
We should eat it.
Yeah, it's already almost done. Yeah.
Good through.
Hey, Mark. Happy to have you in the stream again. On the stream again. Yeah, Predrag is actually figuring something out, personal stuff with mortgage, and Alex is figuring out some family personal stuff. But it's all right. We are here with Marek. We have an amazing show lined up for you. Actually, we don't, but it will be. But it will be amazing. It's a pity because we also wanted to go live on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn Live through RTMP is just not cooperating well.
Let us know in the comments if you ever got it working.
Yeah, it's so random. It's so random. Sometimes it just works and it's super easy, and sometimes it's just not working. And maybe I can try changing it to different region. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we should focus on it. Soon there will be the API connection, the integration, and that should work much more seamlessly. Anyway, on this show, I actually decided to switch the format once again a little bit.
The format? You mean the layout?
Yeah, the layout, exactly. Now the format of the show to QA. I feel like what we should do is do a quick product update to get the show going, you know, like just sharing what we worked on that week, and then really focus on making sure that our users or people interested in streaming or interested in product building are ready on the stream and are ready to ask us questions. I believe it's much more native format for live. It's much more entertaining for the users.
Usually the simpler it is, the better it works.
Exactly, and it's always complicating with some formats. And I think this format is actually the best. So what we are going to do is we will change in the product, in the app, we will change the name of this event. So it's not behind the product, but it's Ask Us Anything QA.
In front of the product.
In front of the product. And we'll also do the promo and the sharing of this as a QA. And if there are no people watching, we might have some questions prepared up front, you know, from Quora or something to like do it not organically, the QA, if there is no questions. I haven't requested live access yet, as I don't use LinkedIn much. You should use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the hot thing right now, and LinkedIn Live is interesting, and I believe LinkedIn will be rewarding people doing live because there is not much live on the platform, and of course they want the more live on the platform, the better for them.
Basically,
anyway,
they will push the feature with like more organic views.
Exactly. I believe so. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway, let's get into the product update. What is new or what's in the progress this week? I think the big thing that I saw and this is cool, really cool, is again the progress of the elements. That's really nice. We have right now 2 elements, image and, or maybe just an image and video. I'm not sure. I think image and video, but you can already work with the settings. You can change, like you can add the border, so you can add a border, set its width, or like its thickness, so its color. You can add border radius, you can add shadow. So really, you can start working with this in cool ways. And the same will be coming with the text and video, and then the background for the start. And that should allow you to really start creating some nice scenes.
Yeah, I think we have like 2 major features in progress right now, and I think the progress with both features is kind of the same, because we are working on the elements, and we are also working on connecting to streaming platforms through API, which simplifies the streaming process a lot.
Yeah.
And basically on both those features, you have to do a lot of initial, groundwork, and then we are adding, more platforms. And in the case of elements, we are adding more elements, but it's much easier and faster.
Yeah.
So I think we are finally getting to like more of the rewarding phase.
Exactly. We are also working on the sidebar that will hold. Which right now you have just the background overlay and logo right there. But right now it will be more like a layers sidebar, like a list of all the elements that you have on the page, because you can have multiple images, play with them, set them how you want and everything. And that's really cool. And we are also starting to work on a chat finally, because the API, as you said, has the groundwork for being in touch with the platforms, being able to start the streams easily without the stream keys, essential feature. And we are adding chat as well, so universal chat from all the platforms in one place in your studio. And Max, our new designer, is working on it right now. And I think Vladimir, he will be starting to working on that next week early. So it's cool.
Yeah.
And we are also adding next week soon the custom RTMP streaming.
Yeah, that's also a cool feature.
Because you can stream to Instagram.
Yeah, and it's also quite easy from the technical standpoint.
Yeah, for us.
But very handy, like for users.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So this is it. This is this week's update. That's like I think the major stuff.
And when we are talking about chat, we mean like the ingestion of chats from the platform.
Yeah.
And then we also will have like a private chat, but that's for another time.
Exactly. Is there a preview and a program view in the roadmap at all? What do you mean by preview and a program view? Comments coming through live tool seems to still be an issue I've heard. I'm also not sure what you mean by comments coming through the live tools seems to be an issue.
Maybe he means like some of our competitors have this feature. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not reliable or something, but we will find out.
I'm not sure it's super
pretty
clear.
soon.
Yeah.
But I don't see any like pitfalls from the technical point, but maybe they are going to be some.
Marek is working on that, so he knows. I wanted to open. Let's see. Comments in LinkedIn ecosystem. Yeah, LinkedIn is just for live stream there. I think they have some technical debt in there.
Yeah.
And they're really fighting with it. And yeah, it's slow. I know that even if you are just streaming through the custom RTMP, the delay is like 3 or 4 minutes, which is insane. It's insane. And maybe the comments is issue as well. Preview and a program views side by side. I'm still not sure what you mean by preview and program views in terms of when you are streaming it and you are in the studio. I'm not still sure if I understand that correctly. Anyway, the key for the QA are questions, and I'm happy we have Mark here for questions, but we need to figure out how to get more people here into the stream. That's important. And on LinkedIn, we actually had an audience waiting for it. 7 people.
Oh,
But the streaming to LinkedIn is just
yeah. I have actually set a reminder for today's stream to YouTube because I have seen in
Yeah.
my feed like the event. I'm not sure if it works, but maybe I have disabled notifications. Yeah, it works.
no, LinkedIn is not working. Um,
So, do we have questions prepared?
We have questions from last week with the old format. Mark is saying that I use vMix and I love the preview and program view side by side. So I queue up what's coming next in the preview before it goes live. Yeah, you are not the first one saying this is a thing. The idea is that like you are live, right? But then you have like when you are DJing, you can play on the other track and you can start shuffling it and mixing it in the main track before others hear it.
Yeah.
This is something similar. You have the stuff is going live, but you can go, for example, to the next scene in the preview view, and then be like, now the preview view is the live view.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool. And it's a vMix feature, and Mark is not the first one speaking about this, and it's quite interesting because it adds a lot of complexity into the streaming, right? It's like for the noobs or for people who are not tech savvy or not strong in streaming, it's like a confusing feature to start with.
Yeah, sounds like pretty poor user feature.
Exactly. But it's a good feature, and even for scenes, right? You have scenes, and you prepare them before the stream. But then when you are live, you are like a bit hesitant to go into the next scene if everything is like well there because you haven't been there for a week. So how to do this as well? That's quite a challenge.
Yeah, you might have like more participants than you had when you created this scene or something like that.
Exactly.
You're not sure if it works correctly.
Or if we also want to introduce like animations. And animations in terms when you are doing a PowerPoint presentation, you can set these like animations with the elements you do when you come into the scene when you present, right?
Yeah.
Like you also want that to be working, and you want to preview it. Yeah, I think that's quite a challenge. It's really interesting how to solve this, and it's the general challenge of this tool, how to make it powerful and strong, and how to not complicate it with that. And how to make it simple still. But it's a good challenge.
Yeah, I think right now we are not in a stage where we are really implementing these like very powerful features, because at first we need to implement the must-have features like chat ingestions, APIs, elements, which are like the main like differentiator for us. And then I think we need to make this feature really work, and after that only we will have time for like something special.
Yeah, but it's also the core concept of like this is a big. When you imagine this how it should work, it touches the whole tool, right? It's the concept of the tool, or you have to have like multiple views, but introducing multiple views is like keeping it simple. It's important. So it's like maybe it's not about having preview and program side by side. It's about how to solve the problem that you need to be sure that what you show next is okay.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem, right? So how do you solve this problem without making it complicated? Give me the answer.
We should solve this problem somehow, not making it more complicated.
Very diplomatic answer. Very diplomatic answer.
Hopefully the tool will be so good and so easy to use that the problem will
not exist at all.
arise at all. Yeah, but I think it's also very important, like how we generally work with feedback, from different kinds of users. Because right now, I think in the initial stage, we are targeting mostly like more casual customers, but we also want to be like a go-to, for like more professional users, and it always needs to be.
Yeah. Mark is saying that EV marks have a pro scenes option, or you can switch to a simpler dashboard. I know I'm an advanced streamer, but I like to ask. Yeah, this is one way to figure this out, like to be able to like switch it to pro mode. The only problem that I have with it is that it means that the whole front end needs to have two phases, which is high load for the development team, which is a high load for like when you are adding a new feature, we have to think about both, which really makes it more complex, more complicated for everything. And I would rather not have this in the tool, at least for like, yeah, maybe not ever. It's
Yeah, I don't think it's the best approach.
yeah.
I think like the best approach is to like have just one user interface,
Yeah.
but it has to be designed so in such a smart way that it basically covers all the use cases.
I think that's the goal for these new tools. Like that's the that's how you build a new product that takes over the old product that has such a high velocity in terms of, or high how do you say, like high velocity in their like human, like OBS. Everyone uses OBS for streaming, right?
Yeah, I think these are like very versatile tools.
Yeah.
But it's super hard to be picked up by like a casual user. But also what's important is that how do you convince like the power users who have invested their time, to learn to work with OBS, and they have like so much customizability in the tool, and they already know how to use it.
I think
How do you
that's a good, yeah. I think that's a good question. It's the next step, but it's interesting, like brain exercise, right? I think it's the same when there was a Photoshop and then there was Sketch coming. Now it's Figma, but I think Sketch kind of paved the way for Figma. But it was like Photoshop can do everything. It's super versatile. Like there's nothing you can't do with Photoshop. And then there was a Sketch that was just like, websites,
some square.
Yeah, some square, like vectors, no bitmap, no raster.
Yeah, I remember when you started working with Sketch, and sometimes you were like, "This tool is so dumb, you can't do anything here."
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So
but then,
oversimplified.
yeah, and that's a good exactly, and that's what we should be able to achieve as well. It should be like at first, of course, the users, the pros would be like, yeah, these tools like StreamYard so stupid, like so oversimplified, so for noobs. But then it should be like, yeah, the OBS, it's really complex even if I want to do simple tasks, like invite another guest. If I want to multi-stream, it's you have to do something there that is not super convenient. It may be slower even. That's hard, like the browser and slow. That's hard. But for Photoshop, this was a big deal. Photoshop wasn't able to keep up with such large files. And then also it's the vertical. Photoshop was for everyone. Sketch was for design, for digital designers, web designers, product designers, and they understood how these people work, and they understood that these people need to have multiple canvas, multiple artboards, and that Photoshop doesn't have a chance to make this work fast, reliably, blah 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 blah, and everything. And Sketch did it. So it's about the audience. So it's about the use case. So maybe, yeah, we are maybe not for gamers, but I would love to have that audience as well. But maybe we are not for them, but we are for people who are streaming. It's obvious with guests, with like they just need to go live easily on more platforms. Like that's it. It's quite simple. Yeah. It's really interesting how to do this. But it's not like this isn't.
Yeah, I think it's not a simple task, and it just takes some time.
Yeah, it takes time.
Because like when Sketch was firstly introduced, like it's a quite old tool, if I remember correctly.
It is,
Like,
and they pivoted a few times as well. Like before, people know them as the tool for design. They were trying multiple approaches as well.
Like I think some people were just using it as like a vector, you know, like to do some, I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't like web design.
So are you guys ultimately going head to head with Melon and StreamYard rather than the more advanced platforms? If so, what is your USP going to be? Yes.
Hey, Predrag.
Predrag just came to the office. Don't even bother to come, Predrag. You haven't been here for the start of the stream. I don't like you anymore.
I will stay here, guys. Don't worry.
Yes, we are going head to head with these apps, and we have unique selling points. I'm not sure how open we want to be about it, about our take, but I think we can. Why not? We shouldn't be afraid.
Yeah, I think. Hey guys, a bit late, but still here. Yeah, I think what's unique about us is that we have like a.
Can you repeat everything you said for the last 2 minutes?
Yeah, of course. Let's start.
Yeah, we have said that Predrag is not here, and then we were just waiting.
Okay, so you're not talking at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think what's unique about us is that like we have entered this space like with a vision to solve like a problem we had ourselves. You know, how to produce content in an easy way. You know, to basically be consistent with like producing the content, because that's a key to success. Like when you're doing anything, and we are not just copycatting some other streaming tools which were here before us, but we have built something which looks quite similar at this stage. But I think the thinking behind is different.
Yeah, exactly. It's this, and then it combines with also an approach about the content creation. So it's kind of two parts. First is, as Mark said, we aim for the audience that is there for creating the content and leveraging the content. It sounds, I'm not sure how to explain, but it's not like a gamer doesn't need, but they all need to have represent content. Like that's another thing. That just when I'm going on a tangent here, but when we were talking about how Sketch overtook Photoshop and how like we can overtook OBS, it's the same. It's like every gamer should repurpose their content, put it on TikTok. With OBS, it will be hard. You have to record it.
It's just not covered by.
It's just not covered by the tool. But that's where the market and the space is heading, right? And we are heading there as well. Like we had the idea. We started with the idea like content creation, live streaming is not just a single thing that you do and you don't care about anything else. It's a horizontal flow where you start with the live stream, you record it, you live stream it, you take the recording, you transcribe it, use the transcribe as SEO, you strip it into clips in a simple tool, you take the clips, other headlines, change different aspect ratio, blah, blah, put them on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything. Like that's how you grow your audience in general, through doing all of this, like maximizing the channels. That's why we also pivoted from local recording and podcast recording, because we believe you should be also on the front of live streaming and not just be like, no, we are pre-recording because we are afraid to go live. The live stream is powerful, like it's another channel.
Yeah.
And yeah, but we believe that the market is moving there, and we have some great validations on that. First, from users, from what you hear, and second, from the competitors as well. For example, right now, what Riverside, I think, Restream and Squadcast is doing is that they are integrating with Descript, so you can easily hand off the files you record into Descript. We did this 6 months ago, with having the transcript done right after a stream, and you can just select the pieces and edit them. And that's why we believe that the VEED acquisition of Welder was so powerful.
Yeah, actually, I remember like we were talking about this horizontal flow, like even like 6 months, I think, before we were acquired by VEED. So this is not only because we were acquired, so we now want to think of like ways, to profit out of this acquisition. It was actually like our initial vision.
Yeah.
Was made, possible by the acquisition.
Exactly. It always goes hand in hand in the products in business. It's not like you think about something and you start doing it. It's about like you thinking about something and then the real world hits and you start combining it. And and then what we add to this is that we also think about the creation part of the content, not only the whole horizontal flow, because that's like the foundation, but we also should be able to create a beautiful content. So what we are adding more is, or what we are thinking about is how we can make the tool as simple as StreamYard, because it's beautiful, and Restream. Everyone can use it, but not so boring. Have it more customized.
Yeah, I would say like Restream maybe is not like the super simple clean interface, but StreamYard is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say even like cleaner how it feels, but much more powerful.
Exactly,
which is customizability features. And I would really like to the tool to be like, you open it and you like instantly feel, this is how it should work.
Yeah.
This is how streaming should be done.
Yeah, you reminded me the motorcycle suspension. For the first time when you run,
the analogies.
But for the first time you ride on a motorcycle with a great suspension, you are like, oh, and you feel it, and you don't have to be an expert. It's the same. And I think this should be the feeling. It should be like, oh, okay. And we have something in our sleeves to do this that we won't share public yet how exactly it will roll out, but the Elements is first part of that, so you can really set your stream how you want, because you can drag everything around, but it's still super simple to use. You still end up with something nice and beautiful. And then of course the whole flow. And yeah, of course, this week another thing that we forgot to mention is export to VEED is almost out there.
Actually, yeah, it's all like 99% done. It's basically
Yeah.
Monday. We are just testing it and we will be releasing on Monday.
Yeah, and like that again go with the whole flow, right? Like you take the recording, you do the live stream, it's recorded forever. You take the clips, you put them into the VEED editor, and it's powerful, and you can do everything there, really make it amazing, and you put it on TikTok, on socials, on everything, on every platform. So yeah. So I hope this answered your question, Mark.
It was like one sentence question and like 20-minute answer. Or?
Yeah, I feel this will be a clip on our channel. We have to do the clips more, take these parts, bits and bits, like these longer contextual parts and put them on YouTube, because this is interesting. Like I feel like the people who are, for example, coming to the channel for the first time through the app should not only see like that there is a live scheduled and then 1 hour long live stream, because like you won't watch it, but 5-minute rant about like why VEED Live is going to be the best live streaming in the tool headline. Like you will watch that because you'll be like, these mean motherfuckers.
But also like small stuff, like for example the upcoming features. Like it's nice to see like people actually making them, talking about these features if you are the user of the product. So
yeah,
I mean this is very simple. And we do it like every week basically.
Yeah, this also go hand in hand.
And it's and it's also, sorry Mark, but it's also easier than like when Alex is doing the micro, he really goes by and it's harder, so it's easier.
I was thinking maybe it would be kind of interesting to have like a video changelog, basically. I'm not sure if we should do it every week. Maybe it's too much, but like for us, it's probably easier because we are going to speak at every stream about this. But also, it may be like interesting to see a face behind these features.
Yeah,
that's an idea. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I really like that you started talking about this, because I think it also goes hand in hand with like one of our visions. Like we had, been working on a product like this, like I don't know, 2.5 years ago. Like exactly like video messaging in apps. And I think now we have like an opportunity to test all these ideas, in the real world.
Yeah, it's true. So are you? Yeah, that's the question we had. The new pairs feature in Restream is very powerful, but I don't think anyone else has that. But the repurposing workflow that you guys have is fantastic. Thank you. I'm not sure what the pairs feature feature is in Restream. I haven't been checking them out recently. If you can describe it a little bit, what that is about, it would be amazing. Yeah, so this is the future of.
As you can see, we are not so much concerned about competition.
Yeah.
So what's it called?
What's it called? No, it's like, of course we are watching them. We are of course getting
It's
inspiration.
a good inspiration.
It's a good inspiration. Everyone in this field,
I think
everyone
we
in
have
every other.
I think we have different visions.
Yeah.
Most of the companies, like the successful one, have their own vision,
Yeah.
which they are following. There are some copycat tools, but it's not gonna be
Exactly.
relevant.
Exactly. I think like our way of thinking about this problem is quite unique, or not quite unique. I think like all the apps will be heading there as well, but we have the upper hand in terms of that we started with it. So we are right now building the tool with this in mind, and that means that the tool can be the most accommodated to this use case. Also the connection between Descript and these tools is interesting. And I think it's a huge validation for us that what we are after is making sense. And I'm a big believer that having this under one ecosystem will allow us actually to have this really working, because we know what it means to integrate in this way and keep it updated and keep it working. Tools like this and keep it well and keep it quick and keep it fast, which is essential. Like all of this has to be fast. Bears allows guests to share the stream to their own social platforms without the host having to log in them into the stream. Wow, that's some inspiration. That's some inspiration. Thanks, Mark, for sharing this. I'm writing this down, and we need to explore it, because this is also why, or how many people right now think about podcasts and live, is that they leverage it as a networking, sales, or grow your audience, of course. But in terms of that, like, you take the guest, and the guest might be someone you want to be your user or your customer if you're B2B. Because if you are, I don't know, selling paper and you go to a company that needs paper and you are just like, hey, you want paper? They're like, nope. But if you are like, hey, you want to be on a podcast about amazing papers? They're like, yeah, we know a lot about papers. And you get them on the call. You don't get them on the podcast and live show. You don't sell them there, of course, but you create the connection, right? And you get in touch with them. And so many people use like this, and it might be interesting for the people who are on the calls as well to be able to leverage that there were somewhere. Everyone's like, I was on a podcast. And I was like, yeah, I was invited to the podcast. It's like, it's cool, it's nice. You feel good, so you want to share it. So that's the super smart feature for growth. I mean, to discover how it works. Good one. Guys, keep asking questions. There are 4 concurrent viewers right now, which is a lot. And this is a QA, so feel free to ask about anything regarding live streaming, regarding content, regarding building digital products, regarding products, motorcycle,
nicotine addiction,
fashion, or nicotine addiction. Oh, and also Marek has a birthday today.
Yeah.
All the best, Mark.
More.
Yeah, so feel free to ask about anything.
Do you want cake?
not right now.
After stream,
Yeah,
I'll give you
I'll
cake.
take one.
It's not a question.
No.
You want cake.
You want the cake.
All right, I will take one.
Yeah, so keep the questions coming. Regarding our own topics, Mark, you had a really nice topic that we can kick off if there are no questions, or before some question
Which topic?
comes. And that's remote versus on-site work.
I thought you used that topic.
No,
last
we couldn't do that to you. We were like, it's
So
Mark.
let
We
you
can't
speak
steal
about
his topic.
So, what's the difference?
And then he just sits and let's him talking. Okay.
I came up with a topic and
You answer.
talk about it.
Or like this is one topic, and second topic is switching between context and keeping focus. Was my topic.
I think my topic was better.
You have a birthday. Man.
Oh, yeah, the birthday, of course.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, it's the best, Mark.
Yeah, it's the best so far. No, actually, I think it's an interesting topic because there
It's the best topic, man.
yeah,
Of course.
it's the best one because there are more and more like remote companies, which have distributed teams. But I think a lot of our strength, like which is in our team, or like nowadays we have more people, we are faster. But initially, when we started with Welder and everything, I think most of our strength was hidden, in the fact that we work together, we see each other a lot of time, and we have basically built a lot of common contexts,
Yeah.
which really simplifies, communication and makes everything much faster.
I think there are many pros and cons. I think like one of the cons, if I should start with that, is that you create a context and the bubble, but you are in the bubble, and it's sometimes hard to break it. And if the bubble is set wrong, everyone is heading without seeing it into some like bad path. So that's one thing. But the strengths are really strong. Like if it would be just onto me, I would love the whole team on VEED Live to come into Prague and move here and be in the same spot. It would be the best because I believe like it's like strongest product teams are on location. Because it's so much easier to just work on something and know what the others are working because you are in the room with them, easily just look into their screen and be like, oh no, this no, it's a different. You don't lose the time, you have the touch, the culture is stronger. I also believe it requires more senior people, which we have the luck to have on the team to be remote and to be as productive as on location. So that's what's playing into our hands. But for example, having a remote team with juniors or young people, it will be so hard. But senior people are great; like they know what to do, they get the context, they are super skilled, so that's working well. But on location, for not senior people, it's a big advantage. The big disadvantage that maybe Predrag you want to take on that is that the talent is limited.
Yeah, I mean, for example, if you are in a small village in Prague here, some very, very small European city, like you can basically run out of developers. Like it's very possible for it to happen. And actually happened in our last company where we were trying to hire Python or Django developers, and at some point, like, they were just not.
Yeah.
So we started to hire like people who didn't really know how to code. And I would argue at that point it's probably better to get a remote developer than to hire just nobody. So always street basically, which is what we did.
Yeah, I think one of the problems like the company was facing was that like the salaries were not high enough to
But they were not small, like
attract people from other companies. Yeah, they weren't small, but I think it wasn't like as high. I think there are Web developers here in Prague who would work for the company, but not for the salary they were offering. But when you are hiring remotely, like basically the pool of talent which is on top for you is just so much, bigger.
It depends. Like for example, for us, I think remote was really advantageous. Stuff like getting people with specialized skill like Ubaldo or somebody who, for example, we have a lot of backend streaming infrastructure, and like finding somebody in Prague here who knows that stuff or like has worked with it for 10 years. I think it's possible, but it will be quite hard to do. Maybe you can.
I'm not even sure if it's possible.
If you're lucky, maybe you can. I'm not sure, but it's hard to say.
Actually, we were trying with Johan to just do like a quick search about the market here in Prague. We didn't find like a single person.
That's maybe or probably definitely one of the big advantages of Silicon Valley. Because all the people are just like magneted there. All the VCs, like everyone is like, yeah, in Silicon Valley you can go to the coffee shop and meet VCs and make contact. That's one thing. That's important, of course. But the other side of that is also that there is a lot of talent there that can be on location, and like there's almost everyone for everything, And this is the same for the big cities like New York, like London, like is a big benefit. And the on location teams, like I think it's hard to argue that you can be more productive when you are remote.
But also, like for example, if you take San Francisco as an example, like on the bigger scale, it has a lot of disadvantages. Because, like for example, floods costing like $3,000 per month.
Yeah, of course. No, I think it's insane.
Your burn rate is bigger. You know,
Yeah.
like it depends. Like I think in general, if you can, like it's best to be on site. But so far, we are doing like really well. Even remotely, so it's hard to complain.
It's hard. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I would say like you should really try to get the best out of your situation. And if you are, for example, in a smaller city where you don't have like so many great developers, you know, you could hire, or maybe you are in a bigger city but you are on a budget, you know, maybe you don't have the money to pay like a San Francisco salary, you know, to your developers. Then I think having a remote team is great, and you should take the best out of it.
I also think like it's almost like 50-50 for me in a sense where it depends on your luck basically. So for example, if you have a team of people that are in one city, it's fine, like work in one city. But for example, if you randomly find somebody really great and you didn't maybe even intend to hire him, and he's like from Ukraine or somebody, and you hire him, suddenly you have a remote company. But it's like very natural, you know, basically.
I'm also thinking about this, the stage of the company. It's like when you are just starting, it's so good to be on the same spot. But when you are already in a state where the runway, the roadmap is not for a month or 3, but for a year or 3, is a lot different, and you need more people. You want the talent to be like specific on some niches, and this like. But when you are starting, it's so like we had so many conversations that like became out of nowhere that we wouldn't have if we were remote.
Yeah, I think it also works on a micro level, because like working remotely, it's much easier, you know, to focus on your stuff, you know, be productive and really push it hard.
Yeah.
And being on spot, there's a lot of, you know, like distractions. There's a lot of over communication, I would say, but that's beneficial for like the initial stages. You know, when you are just coming up with the product, with the vision, with the technical, you know, like background.
Yeah, I would say this is definitely for me. So basically, when I'm in office, I trade like my coding time for like product time. I would say almost like in a way, basically, you know.
And that's where hybrid is so strong, like hybrid style of work, where you come like 2 days into the office, 3 days into the office, but you have to be on location still. But then you have like 2-3 days to really just like dive deep onto your craft and have the flow and focus and not be distracted. That's the best.
Yeah, I mean it's best when you're all in the same city. But like if you are going to be hybrid and not hire remote people, then in my opinion, you will like throw a lot of the advantages of being like at least half remote away. You know, because if you force everybody to be in the same city, you will not get all of the great people. So it's like beneficial for people already working there that they can focus and stuff like that. I would say it's nice office policy, but it's still like on-site work basically. If you have to commute to work even 2 days a week, you still cannot live like 10,000 kilometers away.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mark,
but I think it's like super nature. Like I can't even imagine like a modern tech company to be like
strictly on site.
You know, on site. It's not possible.
Pocket video. Mark is asking, with remote workers, how do you balance salary cost with location and level of talent? Some locations demand more wages due to cost of living. That's a good question.
We don't really do that actually.
Yeah, we don't really do that.
We take the opposite of GitLab approach, which they will adjust your salary based on like
GitLab.
cost of living. GitLab. But we are the complete opposite. We just pay the highest wage we can wherever we are, basically. So
I think we are really paying for the talent, not for the
location. Which creates amazing opportunities, right? Like we are mostly based around Europe. And so that creates interesting opportunities because in Europe there are quite differences. It's in the US as well, probably. But we really don't care if you are from Poland or from London. It's about the talent. If you are great, you get the same salary.
Yeah. Of course, like there is a disadvantage if you are in London, like the cost of living.
Exactly. But I also think it's not set in stone. So like if you are skilled, same as someone in Poland, and you're living in UK, and you need higher salary, like we probably might get an agreement as well because like
Yeah, I think it might come into the consideration during like the negotiation.
yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, like we cannot be public with the salaries,
Yeah.
of course, but like they are high enough even for like the Western cost of living.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, in general, like even if you are on the west side of Europe, you would be pretty happy with the salary. So
Yeah, but if you live like in a country where it's really cheap, yeah, then
of course, then
good for you. Like it's your decision.
I'm on a motorcycle.
I know. I saw it.
It's raining like shit. Mark also asked, I want to sell my interview services to clients by inviting them onto my show as a guest and then supply them with branded snippets of our interview so VEED Live will feature. I hope. Yeah, but generally that's one of the great use cases. Like it's about repurposing. It's about like repurposing. It's about maximizing the leverage of your time spent on the call and your guest time on the call. Like that's it.
I mean, you can see it in our streams we are having right now, where basically sometimes we get an idea to use these streams as a changelog, then repurpose it to TikTok. You know, basically there is like 100 different use cases, and this is what we want to do with every customer stream, basically.
Yeah.
Or make it possible in some way.
Exactly.
To raise it as much as possible.
We are not of course not the best use case because we are not focusing on this so much. We are really doing it as less like side hustle to dogfeed our own tool. So I believe like you can get so much more out of this if you are really like grinding how to like get most out of this. Cool. We are coming to an end. If there is no more questions, I think this will be it. Let's give a few minutes. 2 to 3 concurrent viewers. If there's any more questions, I think I'm not sure if you know that, but I changed kind of the concept a bit of the show.
Of course, I know. I was here all the time for the past 45 minutes. I was just listening.
But yeah, it's like you'll be switching more into like Ask QA format.
That's cool. But
I think it's about like the intention for the viewers to be like Ask VEED Live, but for us, we will keep similar structure, product update to get the chat to go in, and then maybe some of the topics that are questioned. But I really believe that as we start growing, as we start pushing the growth channels, the people will be coming organically because
you're right. I think we definitely like want to actually answer people's questions.
Exactly.
This is the topic people want to talk about. This is what they're asking it. So it's much better than us just thinking about topics all the time.
Exactly.
And I think we will naturally scale as we get more users because now we probably will not have like 1 hour of questioning. Basically.
Yeah, and even if we don't get answers from users, like it's super easy for us to just come up with some questions, and throw it out there. Yeah. Basically, it's not so much different. It's just I think simpler for the viewers to get the idea of what's going on. Like,
I guess like the way we promote it will be different. Maybe like Ask VEED or something like that. Basically. It will be nice.
Okay. Okay, I think this is it. Thanks everyone for watching. We enjoyed it, and see you next week, the same time.
Bye.
Prepare your questions. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.
See you.